Jake's POV. I sat on the deck of the ship, the storm fully past and the water calm again. The ship was finally sailing, or I guess flying, steadily. Nume flew around, fixing things with magic that got damaged from the storm, growing food for the crew in the giant dirt pit at the centre of the deck, or just cleaning up. It was just after noon, so the pit was still filled with the plants from everyone growing their seeds, and they were getting ready to clear away the shrubs. Then, an idea occurred to me. "Excuse me," I said, interrupting one of the crew members who was about to pull the various vines, shrubs and small trees out of the dirt with magic. "Yes? Oh, sorry. Did you want to grow something before I rip everything up?" she asked. "No, actually. I already had a sandwich. What do you usually do with the plants after ripping them up?" "Sand? We just toss them overboard. Why?" She seemed confused, either at not knowing what a sandwich was or over why I asked. "I was hoping I could keep some of them. They're still alive and I want to practice some spells on them." "Well, as long as you're willing to toss them over after you've finished. Wait, they are not fire spells, right? Or anything that could hurt the very wooden ship we are currently perched on?" "No, not fire spells, and I'll be careful not to hurt the ship," I assured her. "Okay. You probably need the captain's permission first, but I will wait to throw them off until you get a yes or no. Captain is in his quarters below deck on the tail side." "Thanks," I said, and made my way to the back of the ship. There was a large open well in the deck near the ship's directional sail, which I heard someone call a tilt sail. Crawling inside the well and dropping about 3 feet to the deck below and falling on my butt in the process, I heard a male voice call out from somewhere behind me. Through the dim light of one of those glowing braids, I saw a small head pop out from behind a tiny curtain covering a box. "What was that? Sounded like a Borak fell over." "Sorry, Captain, that was me. I can't fly, so I had to fall," I said, standing back up. "Well, tell me what you want already so I can go back to sleep," he said gruffly. "Can I use the leftover plants from everyone growing lunch to practice my spells?" "Are they fire spells?" "No?" "Then I don't care. Now get out," he said, pulling his head back into the curtain. "Thank you, sir." Looking back up to the edge of the hole above me, I realized how far away it was. So much so that even raising my hands above my head and jumping several times, I still came up short. "Will you quiet down?" the ship's captain shouted. "Sorry, sir," I said, and looked back up at the ledge just out of my reach. From behind the curtain, a very small, annoyed and tired voice asked, "You're stuck, aren't you?" "What? Me? Stuck? No, I'm not stuck. What would make you think that?" I told him, then immediately contacted Suma using our private connection. "Suma, can you summon me? I'm stuck." "Then leave already!" the captain shouted from behind the curtain, just before I disappeared. I reappeared back by Suma's box, just a short walk away from the plants and shipbound garden. "Captain agreed," I told the worker. "All yours then. Just be sure to toss them when you are finished," she said, and flew away to her next task. I spent a few hours practicing using a rot spell. I'd do one that affected the whole plant, then try and focus it so that only a single leaf withered, with varying success with everything. Sometimes the spell would cause the whole plant to turn black and crumble to dust. Other times it would go grey and get stiff, like it was petrifying. Once a plant was used up, I'd toss it overboard, which resulted in me accidentally smacking a Nume who was flying past with a bouquet of rotten leaves once. He squawked and started chirping loudly, but I couldn't understand him. According to another crewmate, he was cussing me out in his native language. Suma healed him, I apologized, and he gave me the stink eye before leaving. Suma and I decided it was probably best not to ask to learn whatever language he was using. After that, dropping the used plants overboard became standard for me, rather than tossing them. Just as I was on the last of the plants, one of the crew approached me. "What's wrong with your magic?" he asked. It was a reddish-blue Nume, a bit taller than Suma, who sounded apprehensive. "You mean the spell?" I asked, thinking he meant the rotting effect. "No, I mean your mana. When you cast a spell, it feels wrong somehow." I think Suma and the others have mentioned that once or twice. I have chaos magic, and they say it feels weird to them. But I can't feel magic at all, so..." The Nume looked down. His feathers puffed up and his glitter dimmed. "My sincere condolences. I did not mean to bring up such a sensitive topic. Please, forgive me." "No, it's fine, don't—" Unfortunately, he flew away in a rush before my sentence was finished, almost leaving some of his feather behind trying to get away from a perceived awkward situation. "Whatever," I said, and dropped the last of the plants into the water below. By then, it was nearing sundown and my stomach was growling. Looking through my bag, all that was left for today was an orange apple-looking thing Suma gave me that she grew an extra of by accident, half a bag of crisps and 1 breath mint. I ate those and sent the bag home with today's letter for Mum. The letter was basically just a recap of today's events, and an update on how I was doing. But there wouldn't be any more food in it until tomorrow, after Mum woke up, found the bag and read the latest letter. After thinking very hard about how I could catch something, I asked the group, "You guys want any fish?" "Like, as a familiar?" 9 asked. "That does not seem like a useful choice. Maybe if one fought over the ocean regularly, but for most cases, would it not simply die upon summoning?" 14 said. "Are you considering getting a familiar of your own? There are better choices, certainly," Lieutenant Datahu asked. "Do you know the summoning spells for familiars?" Captain Kigualas asked. "That could open up an entirely new way of fighting for you, but a fish seems a poor choice." "Jake, I highly doubt you are asking about fish because you want one as a familiar. Why'd you ask?" Suma wondered. "I was just hungry, and thought I'd ask if anyone else wanted some," I explained, caught off guard by all the sudden questions. Suddenly, 14 flew away. As he did, I heard a faint gagging noise. "Eat a fish?" 9 said, horrified, like I'd offered him a severed head. "Jake, that is... No. Jake, please tell me you are making another of those jokes I do not understand," Suma said. "What's wrong with fish?" I asked, confused. "It's fish," 9 said. "They are slimy and weird and gross." "I would like one," Captain Kigualas said. "As would I," Lieutenant Datahu agreed. "What?" 9 and Suma both yelled. "Seriously?" 9 asked. "I ate them on a mission a few years ago and was surprised how good it was, as did the lieutenant." "Yes, and since both the base and Royal Capital are landlocked, finding anyone who both has a fish and knows how to prepare it is essentially impossible." "Do you know, Jake?" the captain asked. "Yeah, I grew up going fishing with my dad. Plus, I live on an island, so we eat a lot of seafood." A few minutes later, while I was using magic to lift large amounts of water to search for fish, I heard a small voice behind me. It was Suma. "Dragons, I know I have not prayed to you since I was very young, but if you are listening, please come back and take us to your perfect lands before Jake makes me try fish."